Hello, and welcome to our weekly sync on July 6th. We have an agenda we'll be working off of. We have a few people out today. Actually, I have the first agenda item. So last milestone, I put together some thoughts on prioritization. And one thing that's come up as being organizationally important is some of the work around accurately counting storage and applying storage limits. We have an epic and some planned work coming up in 13.3, but I just wanted to make the team aware that that is sort of like a spike that's come up that we're going to have to prioritize in the coming milestones. Okay, so I have the next agenda item, if there's no questions. I signed up and was accepted into the CEO Shadow program. The good news is that it's 2 weeks, but it's split by a week where Sid goes on vacation. So I have a 1 week in the Shadow, 1 week out, 1 week back in. I'm really excited. I'm going to work on this week what has to be true for me to feel comfortable about being out during that time. So if you have any concerns, or I'll share around an issue and we could work on that together just in case. I know I don't get to go on a holiday with Sid, I don't think, unless I really work my magic. We'll see. Okay, I could read the third item for Gigi, who's on APAC time and not here. He asked, what about adding quotas for reviewing community MRs in our package group page? We could have clear guidelines and a time box for reviewing these MRs to communicate effectively what our capacity and expectations are. We're currently managing big community contributions, which take a lot of effort and time to review. I believe that by having a guideline, it's easier to manage the expectation of contributors so they're aware that the easier and smaller the MR, the quicker it will get merged. I think it's a good idea to have some approach there. It sounds like David added a note that he's behind this and that we would be better off to add a limit to it. Nico, do you want to add your commentary?
Yes. So I will say that maybe 20, 30 minutes a day seems a little bit too low. And the other thing that we need to consider is like conflicts and like in if there is a community MR that touches the same code that you are touching for your deliverable, now what you're going to prioritize, or is a dynamic choice, it's always the deliverable choice. Maybe you could add some guidelines so one doesn't need to think, you just need to follow the guideline for that.
Are there any other teams that have implemented anything like that? Any other guidelines that we don't know? Maybe I could take that as a investigation. This way we don't have to start from scratch with any rules.
I was just going to say that I go to the runner. I'm the writer for the runner team, and I don't think they have rules, but I think they have the same problem because if their board has a ton of community stuff, and they're always kind of, same problem. I don't know the solution.
Okay. I could follow up with some other teams and see how they're approaching it, and if not, we could take a shot at just adding something to the group page, even if it's just a simple rule or limit. Okay, I'm doing a lot of reading. So the next one's for David. He sent a reminder to avoid Slack direct messages because channel messages would generate too much noise, and that's not a valid reason to do so. I'm definitely guilty of that. Trying to be better with all the attention to send less messages. And then David opened an MR for our team page about bug triaging, saying that we should limit how much time we should spend in order to focus on deliverables. So any feedback on that MR is welcome. And Suzanne, you have the next item.
Yeah, I just had a couple really quick questions that I just logged in and looked. It looks like Nico, did you merge the MR to rename it so everything's kind of gone in?
It's in it's been merged.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and merge the docs then, or I have to get them to another tech writer who can merge, but I just wanted to make sure there's a tiny API that's still called expiration policy, and it sounds like Nico said, it'll be a breaking change if you fix that. So I'm just throwing it out there for like, should we create an issue or just let it go or, you know, leave it? I changed the description of it to say cleanup policy. So it's really just literally the API that still says expiration.
Yeah, so I think the API changes, when it's a breaking change, they follow a huge, not a huge, but a pretty long workflow where you add a new one with the new name and then deprecate the second one, wait X milestone and then remove it. And it's kind of a big deal. But we can do it. We just need to plan for it.
What's not my, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm fine. You know, the docs are done regardless. So it's kind of up to you guys, I guess.
And the issue is the actual field, the actual API request. You have to send an expiration policy equals.
Yeah.
I think that's okay. Let's let someone complain about it before we make a schedule breaking change, because.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. And then the next one is, oh, yeah. Oh, okay. And people have already replied. Basically, it was just, there's an issue to improve the cleanup policy docs. And I just saw, yeah, Ian has a new design. So, and he's saying, yeah, I'm not sure if the docs we should update the docs twice. And I was thinking the same thing. I mean, there are a few small things in here that maybe I could just, you know, open a few MVCs to kind of iterate on, but maybe, do we kind of know when Ian's new designs are slated for? Or is it sort of several releases out, or no pressure?
I'm hoping to get the designs done by the end of 13.2, so it'll be ready to move forward, but I don't know. That would be a Tim question about when the actual change should be slotted. I think we have a big conversation about front-end priorities happening this Friday. So I wonder if we'll have a good answer then, and then we can make a decision on whether we make small changes to the docs now or really just wait until everything goes at the same time. I just said a bunch of things on Tim's behalf, which is never a good thing, but trying.
That sounds accurate. I think let's wait to see what comes out of that Friday meeting, because we have a lot of different design changes that are coming through. So I want to make sure we give an accurate timeline, but it sounds like for 13.2, it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. And just, sorry, one last thing. I know I didn't put it on the agenda because I just thought of it, was the move from the features to core. I just want to throw it out there again. Yeah, if you need help, or if, I mean, it looks like it's not that much work to change the docs to update them to core, but if you guys want me to do any work on that, I'm happy to help. So keep me posted.
Okay. Yeah, your explanation in the issue is very helpful.
Yeah, I kind of went through and was like, what is this going to mean? Because I thought it was going to be overwhelming. And I was like, oh, it's actually not that big a deal in the docs. So.
Okay.
Do we need to change something outside of the package docs, like version badges and stuff like that? I didn't read the explanation, sorry, so maybe that's already covered.
No, that's okay. I didn't think about it. I did. There's a couple of places where we can put a second bullet, you know, where it says introduced in, we could put a second bullet that says moved in. But I think I covered the bulk of the changes in that comment, but yeah, it's probably a good idea if I relook over everything and kind of make sure I didn't miss anything. As far as my main concern was that when you change the title and you remove that little ultimate badge, it changes the anchor link, but because it's only listed at the top level, I think we're okay, because we don't usually link to those. Because another thing that will break is the release posts, like the nav will break, and then the release posts in the other www GitLab project that link to those would break. But I think we never link to the top level anchor, and that's the one that has the badge. So long story short, I think I have it all covered in that issue, but it'll definitely, once we do merge the changes, it'd be good to just do one more review and see.
Okay,
Thanks.
makes sense. Thanks, Suzanne. And Nico, you have the last item.
Yeah, so speaking of docs, we need to regenerate the screenshot after like 13.2 UI around the container registry changed significantly. So now the last UI change is in review right now, but since it's like it may have some like look there, review cycles on it. Does it make sense to start the docs update, the screenshot update with like a non-merged stuff, and we hold off just to merge, but we can review it and stuff like that? Or it's better to wait until it's final?
So we have this thing in the, it's not, maybe not in the handbook or in the, still waking up. Anyway, there's a thing called like a post merge review. So if you want to get a feature in and then review the docs right after, we can do that. So if screenshots are giving you grief, we can do them after the fact. And we can also, are you talking about the cleanup policy screenshot specifically, or a different area of the UI?
No, so the container registry table list became it became a list, and now it has an expandable row as well. So it's like completely new pieces of UI.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, so that's probably a lot of screenshots, huh? Or is it?
It's probably a couple. It's probably a couple of screenshots.
The packages topic, sorry, the one top level topic I'm redoing to get rid of some of the screenshots, the packages topic, the top level one, the package registry. Oh, there's only, you know what? There's only 2 screenshots on there, or 1.
So this is just container registry.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. So I've told Tim this, and I think what I'd like to do with some of these. So really quick, I'm going to give you a tech writer spiel if you can handle, if you don't mind. There's like 3 main types of content, right? It's either a concept where you're trying to teach someone an overall concept. There's a task where you're just trying to give them a procedure. And then there's reference content, which is more like, these fields do this, right? It's just reference, you know, it's just like a table you would look up information in. So when I look at the existing content, my brain is always like, okay, what's a concept where I'm trying to teach them something versus a task versus, and those topics that are like a screenshot and it says on this page you can view and do these things. It's really like, if you think about how you as a user would look at content, you would never really, you wouldn't search the help for this kind of information. You'd just be in the UI, you'd be doing stuff and you'd be clicking things. Oh, I could sort, I could filter, I can, you know, you wouldn't ever say, you might say, how do I filter? But then you would want to find a task that says, filter, go to this page, click this button, filter. So anyway, long story short, I'd like to remove some of these screenshots and make these things more task-based so that they're easier to search for and find, that, if that makes sense. So the long answer to your question is I'd like to remove the screenshots, but it's going to take a few releases to sort of do this kind of work. So
so for now we update just to stay consistent, and that's it.
Yeah, if you have time, it'd be good to keep them up to date.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
if it becomes a problem, yeah. Or if you let me know, I'm happy to help with screenshots. I have the GDK running, but I don't have, I don't know how many sample.
No, it's not much about taking and preparing the screenshot. It's much like having the feature merged and then working the screenshot at the same time. That's what worries me, but I will.
Gotcha.
They shouldn't change based on technical review. The UX review is stamped. So I will prepare the MR and then we just keep it blocked until the UI is merged. And then we merge afterwards. Okay, thank you very much.
I think that was the last agenda item. Did anything else to add or say before I stop recording? No? All right, I'll do so. Thanks, everyone.